Hi, everybody. Welcome to filling out the Judge Your Neighbor worksheet. Even if you've done it before 1,000 times, it's really nice to be guided into the Judge Your Neighbor worksheet, I find, so that you can sit, pause the video if needed, and find your actual answers by listening. So let's begin. You've got your situation. Hold on tight to that while you answer these questions in writing. So you choose your stressful situation. As noted, you want to make sure that you spend a little time there, even if it's 30 seconds. So it's a little time for the mind to notice what time of day, where you are, location, feelings, amounts of people in the room, or that one person who has just said, done, acted, behaved a certain way. Whatever's going on in this situation, make a strong note of it as if you're watching a movie. You're going to pay close attention to the situation and come back to it. It's your anchor for this work. So, with your beginner's mind, notice in the situation where you felt the most uncomfortable. I sometimes like to think of this as a very, very fine scientific weighing machine, or a place to calibrate very closely with a very fine, detailed needle. Where did you feel most uncomfortable? Where did it really strike you in that situation? The strongest difficult feelings. Hold it right there. Push the pause button on that part of the movie. And then you can ask yourself for the number 1 on the Judge Your Neighbor worksheet. What's the feeling that you're having? With, what's the primary problem in the situation? Who are you directing your attention to? What's the problem here? What's the most disturbing about what just happened? The offense, the crime, the mistake, the wrong that just occurred. I am upset. You can name your feeling more specifically. We're not going to ever question the feeling, not at this point at least. With name of the person, object you're looking at, condition or situation like disease, money, because, and fill in the blank. Number 2, how do you want them to change? What do you want that person to do? What do you want that object, that thing, that condition, what do you want it to do? As you consider what you really want, allow your emotion to speak. You can be as petty, childish, immature, ridiculous as you actually hear your mind is already. Don't edit yourself. What did you want in that moment? This is your argument with what happened. You don't hold back. We're not moving into self-criticism or trying to figure out why this happened, although the mind will speedy do that sometimes. Just focus on the attention of what you wanted to have changed, what you wanted to be different in that situation. How do you want them to change? Number 2, I want identity of that person's name, that condition, the disease, money, object, body, them. I want, fill in the blank, 2, what do you want them to do? What do you want them to do? The third section is, what advice would you give them? Using the words should and shouldn't. What is it that they shouldn't or should do, think, or feel? What advice could you offer? Who or what you're looking at? So a way to consider this question and the answer to it is, if you imagined your feeling fading somewhat from its intensity that you had in number 1, number 2, like that scene of the crime right there, what would you recommend the person or object or condition that you're looking at, what would you recommend for them so that they could make the change that you just identified? How might this person become motivated to make the changes that you desire? What's holding them back? So given what they did or said or acted like, Consider specifically what they could add or subtract or learn or fix so that they could be someone who would never do this again, who would make that change that you want, and especially around or to you. Is there something you'd recommend so they'd appreciate you more? I always like that little question. So number 3 on the judge your neighbor is, what advice would you give that person, that thing, that condition should fill in the blank, or shouldn't fill in the blank? Pause as long as you need to write your answers. Number 4 are the needs. This is one of my favorite things to identify, really at an honest, base, hardcore level, unedited in the mind, to see what I think is required for happiness. What's getting in between me and happiness in this situation? The question is, in order for you to be happy, what do you need them to do or think or say or feel? Considering needs, what could they act like so that I move from a feeling that I had in number 1, that really dreadful, upset, troubled feeling, to a feeling of happiness? What would it take? Sometimes we want to think, I just want the whole thing to get undone and have never happened. And while that is something that the mind comes up with, what we're going to look at here is the thing happened. That's the reality. It happened. Now, what do I need in order to correct it, like fix it, make it all better? What would they need to show me, given it happened, so that my troubled feeling dissolves and I feel more loving or accepting, even joy or excitement, or perhaps happiness in this situation would just feel like pure calm or just simple trust? What do I need from them? What do I need from this object, this condition, given that this happened, given that this offense has occurred? How could they repay this debt or this hurt? Just allow your imagination and listen to what you are thinking. See, hear, feel, notice what you need to not suffer because of this experience. What do you need from that person? So number 4, in order for me to be happy, I need, fill in the blank of who you're looking at, what you're looking at, to, and respond. Write it down. Number 5 is, what do you think of them in that situation? Make a list. So the list is usually 1 word at a time, descriptive words. I'm just looking and describing at what I see. It might feel like I'm calling the person names or calling the thing what it is. I'm calling it out. The words you choose can be profound as you contemplate and wonder about them in that specific moment. What are they like? What are the characteristics? So usually this area, not necessarily a place for whole sentences unless that just spills out. But I like to say, that person is, in this situation, selfish, mean, disgusting, repulsive, frightening, like that. Make a list. So he, she, they, it are. And finally, number 6, the last contemplation, the Judge Your Neighbor worksheet. What is it that you don't ever want to experience again with this person in this situation? What is it that you don't want to experience again when it comes to this situation? What don't you ever want them to do to you again? What don't you ever want to feel again? Just be uncensored. Allow it to come out. You don't even have to have just one sentence on any of these. There's no right or wrong way to do it. There might be a bunch of things that you don't ever want to experience again that you experienced in that situation. I love this saying that Byron Katie uses, if you had your way, like if you were God, what do you never want to experience again about this situation? And really look at what you wrote in number 1. So number 6, I don't ever want, and then fill in the blank with whatever follows. Now you've got a Judge Your Neighbor worksheet. You've got everything written, manifested in hardcore writing form. And then we get to begin to take our worksheet into the contemplation of the 4 questions and finding turnarounds. Very exciting.